Howdy everyone, I'm Kyler, host of Fishing After 5, the YouTube channel that you're currently on, and this is a quick and dirty tutorial on how to rig and fish the Baby Brush Hog. So when I was learning to fish, Texas rigging was one of the most reliable ways I could catch bass. And my favorite thing to do it on was a brush hog. All you need for this is a few things. It's one of the easiest setups to run with, and everything that you need for this is actually located just in your local Walmart. It's one of the cheapest setups and one of the most reliable. Before I get into the lure itself, let me tell you more about what I usually throw it on. Of course, it's nothing extremely special. I usually throw it on a bait caster. If you've ever seen any of my other videos, this is the bait caster I'm always using. I also have a Cast King Mela 2 3000 series that I also throw this on. When you're Texas rigging, medium is fine. I like to throw it on braid. You don't have to throw it on braid. But when you're fishing this in grass, which you will probably be doing, braid ensures that you're not breaking your line off when you're trying to pull a bass through the grass, bass grass. But yeah, I like to fish it on braid, a medium rod. I'm not too sure on the length of rod. This is a 7-foot. My other is a 7.2. It's really what you're most comfortable with. So without any further delay, let's jump into the tutorial. So before I get started, I just wanted to preface this by saying everything in this video can be purchased at Walmart for very cheap. I believe these are $2, this is $1, and this is maybe $2.98. Of course, I'm probably wrong on those prices, so sue me. Don't actually do that though. First up, I'm going to cover the lure. This is a Zoom Baby Brush Hog. This is the watermelon red. I typically like to stick with natural colors, so I'll either go with a watermelon or a green pumpkin. The flakes, I'll usually go with red or something else that can really pop. If the water is darker or muddier, I'll usually use something that's black with a higher profile, like the, oh man, I think it's called June Bug with the black and the blue flakes. So let's take one of these babies out and look at it. Ooh, slippery. So this is a baby brush hog. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to resemble, but everything is all in the action of the tail. So when you're fishing it, and I'll go over this in a second, this bottom part is where all the money's at. Of course, this is then paired with a bullet weight. I believe I use a 1/8 ounce bullet weight. You can use anything lighter. Don't go way too heavy, because going too heavy means you have destroyed the action of your particular lure. Let's focus that in. There it is. Finally, I use a Gamakatsu 2/0 off-shank worm hook. Here it is, right here. Now it's sharp, so hopefully I don't cut myself on camera, because I'm prone to do so. That's all your basic stuff. Let me show you what it looks like when it's all hooked up. Here it is, right here. So, I've got the, oh god. So, I've got the bullet weight on, I've got the hook, and I've got the brush hog. So I'm going to take this off and show you exactly how I rig it. First, before I do anything else, I make sure the bullet weight is on there. And this part is pretty self-explanatory because you just slide the bullet weight on. It moves up and down. Next, I tie my hook. On the hook, I'm using a, okay, shush. On the hook, I'm usually using a Palomar knot. A Palomar knot is one of the strongest knots ever, maybe, I don't know. That's what the internet says. It's very simple to learn. I recommend that you look up some videos on how to tie a Palomar knot. It's one of the ones I use the absolute most, and it hasn't failed me yet. Usually when you're going through grass, you're gonna need to rip this thing out. You wanna make sure the knot that you're using is powerful enough to, not snap and lose your lure and your bait. But, not that big of a deal because you only paid a few bucks for it. Next up, we have the Baby Brush Hog. And I'm going to do exactly this. I'm going to line it up like so. I'm going to stick the head in. That's weird. And as soon as it gets to the joint, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to let it come through. I'm going to move it on up and kind of cover the eye of the hook with it. Then I'm going to turn it. Set it over here. hook it right in its little belly area, like that. So you have something like this. Then, for the final step, I move it up and I hide the hook by kind of stretching the little guy. And I hide the hook in the skin, just like that. So when a bass comes down and bites it, you can see the hook exposes pretty easily. Here's a better look for you. See, it exposes itself pretty easy, and you don't really have to do so much. But that is the basic way it goes. And of course the bullet weight, which is going around crazy. There we are. And when it's all said and done, that's what it looks like. So, as far as ways you can fish this, honestly, they're pretty simple. And when you actually get out there and start fishing this thing, you'll start thinking that it's too simple. One of the ways I love to do it, and personally I've caught the most fish doing this, is just dragging it along the, I can't reach the string. Say it's on the bottom, and I move my rod tip, and I just kind of drag it. Although this is a glass table, in the water, it looks a lot better. The second way I do it is I like to bounce it along the bottom. So I pop the rod tip with like a swift jerk. I usually do it in an upward motion, making it go like this. I know it's weird to see it on land, but this is what you want. Again, all of the action is in the tail. There we go. Focus on the tail. There it is. All the action is in the tail. So when it's sitting down there, as long as the tail is free and moving and wiggling about, bass cannot seem to resist it. But simply, that's it. That's all there is to it. When it's a tough day of fishing, this is usually my confidence booster. I know I can catch something on it if I'm not using a lure or just anything else hasn't worked. And the principles I've taught you for using this apply to a whole bunch of other things. You can fish a Cinco with this technique, a lizard, all sorts of different things that you just need to crawl along the bottom. In the future, I'll be doing some more videos where I'm fishing just these things, and I'll show you the details of how I catch fish with them. And that's it. That's exactly how you rig and fish a Texas rigged baby brush hog. Of course, in my day job, I'm a programmer, and as a programmer, I'm learning new things all the time. This is not the only way to use and rig and fish this particular lure. I'm learning new things all the time. If you guys have a better way to do it, or your own personal way, please leave a comment below. Tell me how. Maybe I can learn from you and catch more fish that way. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to stick around, hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more content coming on the horizon. I'll probably use this brush hog a few times too. As always, a bad day fishing is way better than a good day at work. Stay weird, fellas. And I'll see you next time after 5.